well, you could say the air if you're talking about specific air, or the water in the ocean, then you're talking specifically about the water. But if you're just speaking about water, you don't need an article because it's a non-count noun. Does that make sense to everyone? Articles are something that I found a lot of you struggled with throughout the semester, so it might be something to just maybe look up on your own again. Remember we talked about the different rules for when do you put an article before a country, before a class name like English or Spanish, and so looking them up, and some of it's just rote memorization, so sometimes you just have to memorize the rules or just get used to it as you keep speaking the language and practicing the writing. But good, I think you'll get there. MLA. Who knows what this is? Say it louder. It's a type of writing style, good. And when do you use it? When you're turning in an essay, that's typically with language arts type of essay. There are different styles, as we talked about, that you might, for maybe a scientific paper, if you're taking science, you might have to use a different type of writing, or psychology, you might use an APA style. But you're right, for your English papers, most likely you're using the MLA format. And there's specific ways you write papers. We're not going to get into all of them because we did that in the lesson. But do remember that your works cited page, which is your bibliography, which goes at the end, has to be written in that specific format. Your in-text citations have to be written in that format. And again, use the internet to look it up if you forget specifically. And that's probably the easiest way instead of memorizing all the little rules. But you will get more used to it. So good. Does everyone have to write their papers in MLA format? Your final papers?
Yeah.
Both? Okay. Good. So definitely look that up as a review. What does know your audience mean? Julie? What does know? What does that mean? Know your audience. What does that mean in regards to writing?
Oh, who's going to read your paper?
Who's going to read your paper?
Or see your work.
Or see your work.
Yeah.
If it's in regards to a painting. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So know who's going to see or read your work, and that should dictate what?
Give the information.
Say it a little louder. It's going to give you.
Give the information. The people who will going to see your paper.
Right, so the people who are going to read your paper or see your work, you have to give them specific information. You have to give them enough information so that it makes sense. So whether that's prepping them or writing, description of your work next to your artwork and getting them up to that base, or whether it's writing a little bit more in the introduction so that your readers know what you're talking about. And for a lot of you, your readers of your final paper are your teachers, so they most likely know the works of art that you're reading, the different literature you're reading, so you don't have to necessarily go into describing everything about the piece of literature. For me, if you were turning in that document, you might write it differently, because I haven't read your poems and your stories, so you might have to write a little bit more just to catch me, the audience, up, so that I understand then the comparisons you're making between your literature and whatever you're writing. So know who you're writing for. Mm-hmm. And remember, I said when I create trainings at Hopkins, I do that same thing. I have to know, our nurses going to go through this training, our doctors, our office staff going to go through the training, because I'm going to use different vocabulary, different jargon, depending on who's going to be going through the training. So it's really applicable in everything in life. Know your audience. Participles. What are participles? Anyone remember? It's a weird word. I can help. So participles, they're present and past, words formed from a verb, which is used as an adjective. So a present participle can be ending in ing, and a past one can be ending in ed, dt, en, or n. So what could be an example of either a present or a past participle? So it's a word, a verb that's changed into an adjective. Mary.
I'm eating the breakfast. I ate breakfast. The breakfast has ate.
So I'm eating the breakfast. That's still using eat as a verb. I'm having breakfast. Having is still to have. What if you were describing the breakfast? Think of an adjective that you could use to describe the word breakfast, the noun breakfast. Think of, so for example, I'm thinking, to bubble is a verb, but to boil, so the boiling oatmeal, I'm describing the oatmeal by saying it's boiling. I will eat the boiling oatmeal. So I will eat is the verb, but the boiling oatmeal is describing the oatmeal. So is boiling a past or a present participle? The word boiling. What'd you say? Present. Good. Why? Because it's boiling. Yes, because it's boiling, but what ending does it have? ing. Good. Now, based on that example I gave, oh, you are front and center on this video. Don't fall asleep on me. So,
Are you showing this to me?
just my teacher. And she won't judge you if you look tired. It's Monday afternoon. It's Monday evening, technically. Based on my example, the boiling cereal, can someone else come up with an example? Yoonji.
The past one?
Sure. Either one, the past or present participle. Either one worked for me. Look, we'll turn it on you now.
You don't have.
It's okay, I don't think my purse will hold it up. Oh, there we go.
The boiled soup.
The boiled soup. Perfect. The boiled soup tasted delicious. Or was horrible. The burnt toast. Right? Does everyone get the idea behind that? Good. Okay, we will move on then. And I'll turn it back to people in the back. There we go. Types of sentences. So remember, in sentences, we can have an independent clause, dependent clause. What do those mean? There are 4 types of sentences that we covered in this semester. Grace, you're shaking your head. Do you want to give me one or all of them?
Just one.
Okay, give me one.
So, independent clause is like there's subject and verb, so it's like one complete sentence.
So an independent clause, so think about the names of these 4 types of sentences. An independent clause could be in them.
There was like complex.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. So complex. So we've got, the most simple one is called what? I just gave it away. The most simple one is called simple. Good. The second one that we went over, I believe, is, so a simple one is just an independent clause. Who can give me an example of one simple sentence?
I swim.
I swim. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got compound, which is what? Compound is using our conjunctions, and we put together what? An independent and dependent clause? What do we put together in a compound sentence?
Sentence.
Put together two simple sentences
Simple sentence.
using a compound. Yeah. So we put together one independent clause and then use a conjunction and then another independent clause. So two simple sentences that can stand alone, but maybe we want to put them together using a conjunction. And maybe the reason is because we want to emphasize that something, or we want to show that it's very different. I swim and I climb mountains, right? Two simple sentences, we combine them, we put them, make them compound using a conjunction. Can someone give me an example? Another example? Someone in the back.
I love you and you love her.
I love you and you love her. And now we have a really bad love triangle. But good, that's a compound sentence. Complex. What is a complex sentence? The thief stole the diamond. Okay. So that's an independent clause because that can stand on its own. So keep going.
And the police call.
But if you have the, what do we say, the thief stole the diamond, and, so that's our conjunction, the police caught him. So could those two parts of the sentence stand alone?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what? What kind of sentence? That's compound, right? Because those are two independent clauses. They can stand on their own. They have the subject, the thief, and then they have the predicate, so the rest of the sentence. And they both have that, so that's compound. So what we're looking for complex is an independent clause and a dependent clause. One part of a sentence that can't stand alone, that needs its friend part of the sentence. Yes, Mary.
When the bells rings, the student should be in the classroom.
Good. When the bell rings, the student should be in the classroom. Or is it all just one? Yeah, no, that works. I think. When the bell rings, comma, the student should be in the classroom. Because the student should be in the classroom can stand on its own. And when the bell rings cannot. I'm trying to think if, yeah.